Ladies and Jimbo men, welcome back to another very special episode of Jimbo TV. Today I've got a knife in my hands that I wondered if I would like, but I wondered if I'd even always have, because Knives Ship Free did a little promo on these knives and they disappeared immediately. Of course I'm talking about the Hudson Bay Trade. It's a gorgeous knife, always caught my eye in just terms of, you know, design, but one thing that I'm kind of always wary of is the traditional handle. And what I mean by that is Bark River does a few things, and I'm going to show you what I'm talking about with a couple other of their more modern handle offerings. But one thing that they do is provide the knife world the ability to get knives in their hands that were only made in the past. Really, they're the stuff of historical legend. These are the real badasses of all time. You know, the mountain men, the skin traders. You know, the fur guys. You know, the guys who really made America and the world what it was before we had technology, before we had, you know, the internet and planes and even automobiles and all that kind of stuff. You know, when stuff was still shipped on boats and taken even by railway, you know. Getting a knife like this, a historical pattern in your hands, just kind of brings you back to that time. And I've had a few knives like that in my Bark River collection. I've had the Mountain Man, I've had the Mini Kephart, which I featured recently, and you go back to that video and you'll see why I didn't necessarily like it. It had a very cool blade, very nice blade stock thickness. I thought it was a complete razor thin slicer, very cool and all that. But man, when I held it, my hand just felt kind of empty down here, at least. It was just too small. It was just too small for me. The Mountain Man always felt kind of awkward too. I always felt like when I was using it for hard tasks, the blade was awesome, and it just always kind of felt like it was going to go and fly off out of nowhere. But man, this Hudson Bay Trade, I'm spinning it around in my hands, I'm flicking it around. I can't find an uncomfortable spot on it. And there's really, you know what it has different than those two? Those other knives are pretty straightly put out. Maybe the Mountain Man has a bit more of a taper, but this really just has the perfect amount of taper out towards the butt and the perfect length. Maybe the Kephart had a little bit of taper too, but the length of the handle was just a little too short. This has the perfect length and thickness to just completely fill my large glove size hand. There's another thing that kind of always throws me off about some knives, and I don't know why I'm not having this feeling with this knife. I felt it with the Kephart. I felt it with the what knife? I felt it with the Mountain Man, and I also felt it with I felt it with a number of knives, Bark Rivers, but I don't have the rest of them on me. One of them that I just am trading right now though is this North Star EDC, and it's that, you know, when my hand is in the full four-finger position, my finger just feels so dang close to that blade. I know it's not going to go anywhere. You know, if I was doing any really hard task, I would be using it safely, or, you know, I'd probably be using gloves or whatever. But still, you know, there's just, when you pick it up, it's just like, man, my finger's freaking close to that edge. You know, it's just a little bit whatever. Not so much with the Hudson Bay Trade. You know, your finger kind of comfortably in a hammer grip rests pretty far back behind these, which I must say I love this desert ironwood with brass pins. I love it. Most of the time you'll see two big pins. Here's some more brass just right in the middle. This is a Bravo 1. 6 little pins. Another little, you know, historical harkening thing that Bark River does. This one also comes in desert ironwood that has some gorgeously matched light grain in the butt here. So anyway, I gotta say it's an incredibly comfortable knife. This would make an awesome EDC, Skinner, kitchen knife, what have you. I really can't see what it would be bad for. Incredibly stout, thickness on the blade stock, but it comes to a very fine edge. And while I have you here for a couple more moments, what I like to always do for the folks is show it off next to a few other Barkies that I think are kind of right in the same wheelhouse, same size, same, everything. So let's take a look at this knife next to the Adventurer 3. Completely different styles, and you'll see this is a very modern handle here, is what I'm talking about. It's got, flared out butt and kind of near the ricasso here is this section where it comes back out, and it's very skinny here in the middle, so you can kind of pinch it just with one finger, and it's not going anywhere. Very comfortable places, grooves cut out for your finger to do some kind of tasks like that. Hardcore jimping, more grip, all this kind of stuff. I mean, this thing really just your hand wraps around it like no other. Yet at the same time, I mean, they're both incredibly comfortable, but they fill the hand in such a different way. But I don't feel like either is more or less comfortable than the other, which is really amazing for a modern, not so contoured, but just kind of perfectly tapered handle. So, most of the time I say, why would you want to get a traditional handle when we've come up with all these innovations to make handles better? Why go back to something that doesn't feel as good in the hand? But this one I think actually really does do it. It really does it. So here's another one. I just wanted to show one more modern handle kind of difference and same type of thing. Obviously, the Hudson Bay Trade has a ton more belly than this Bravo 1 LT that I can't believe I actually haven't even shown this off yet on the channel. I don't think I have. This is my new Bravo 1 LT in CPM crew wear. Been messing with this thing a lot. I freaking love it. But yeah, you can see very different. I mean, and this is kind of what I'm talking about. Compare this to this North Star handle, which is why I wasn't huge on it, on the North Star here. I'm huge on this Bravo, because, man, look at that finger protection. This is my true favorite, this is what I'm really all about. The Bravo, I think, it doesn't get much better than this. This is the culmination of all modern advancements, Anything past this is considered futuristic in my book. So, moving on, show it next to one more knife, and then move on to one more. I got one more video for you guys today. I'm going to be talking a bit about that North Star EDC. But let's just put this bad boy next to my one other quote-unquote traditional bark river that I've got. This is the Canoe. I don't think they kept it as traditional because it really does have some coke bottling. So, I'd say if you want to get a bark river that's truly traditional but has an amazingly comfortable fit feeling, useful blade shape, very nice, useful yet manageable blade length, good blade stock, thick enough to get all the jobs done without, being too, thick, to make it, just insane like my Bravo Survivor. You really want to keep your eyes open for a Hudson Bay Trade. They're not on retailers anymore. You got to go to the Bark River group to find one probably, or you could check out the Jimbo's Knife Fan. Might have some luck there. Links in the description, along with some other links to, other stuff. Help support me a little bit. But yeah, that's a wrap on the Hudson Bay Trade. I've already traded this off for a Nomad Hunter. Very excited to get that in next week, and stay tuned for more Jimbo TV, because that'll be coming soon. I'll see you guys very shortly.